Hello Drive Radio fans, Richard Rush here today with my dad, John Rush, behind the camera. And this is the review of the 2016 Volkswagen Golf SportsWagon. So you can obviously see that from the wide view shot. This isn't just your standard Golf, this is the wagon version of that. It's got a foot more added onto the cargo bay, so there's a lot more cargo room. We'll get into that as we get into the review. It actually compares with some of the crossovers in the same market, which is really incredible. What's new for 2016? Rear view camera is now standard. We'll show you that in a bit. The S, which is what this model is right here, loses the leatherette upholstery. There is now a standard 6.5-inch touchscreen, which supports Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, MirrorLink, all of those. And there's also a driver assistance optional package that you can get blind spot monitoring, things of that sort. But let's jump right into the review, give you a walk around of the car, and then we'll just kind of talk about some of the features. So as I mentioned before, this is the S version, I should say the Volkswagen Golf SportsWagon TSIS. So there's 3 trim levels, the S, the SE, the SEL, and then if you added the diesel onto there, that would be another level as well. I mentioned before, adds 1 foot of cargo. What are some features? Here's just a few of the standard features for the S. The 15-inch wheels that you see there, heated mirrors, the black roof rails that you see, which are really nice and handy, especially for those of us here in Colorado to put cargo, ski rack, snowboarding up there. You have AC, obviously, cruise control, leather wrap steering wheel, hill hold assist, especially for this manual. I'm going to jump over here. 8 speakers, satellite radio, HD radio, an auxiliary port, and a USB port. This car, as it sits right here, $22,445, and I think you'll see as we go on the review, that's a pretty incredible value for the amount of cargo room that you get in this vehicle and the amount of standard features that you get. Obviously, you can go up from there, but since we're here on the rear, we'll just kind of go up from there. We reviewed a Volkswagen Beetle just the other day. Very similar concept in the back. The rear view camera is actually underneath here. It's hard, it only pops up when you put it there. You can't just pull it up. So if you push this up, normally the rear view camera is actually down here. It's hard to see, but it pops up there. But in order to pop the trunk, you can use the key fob, or you just push up here and lift up, and you have a really nice privacy screen here, which I believe comes standard on this, and it's back, and you just kind of push it back there, and it comes into 2 stages. So you have the first stage right here, which allows half. Maybe you got some cargo in the back half that you want to cover up, or you just push it back, push it down like that, push it forward, and this whole screen can come out, which we were actually needed for this past weekend. We're able to put a full toolbox. Obviously, it was in a box, but we were able to put a full toolbox right into this range. It's a full 5-drawer toolbox from the store. Really nice. You do have some nice features, some more storage down here. There is the spare tire down there, but again, some nice storage along the sides, which is really nice. One other thing you can do, and you can see right here, this gives you the ability to put down the seat, unlock the front seat, and it actually folds down. If you just notice, I just pulled it, and it folds it down completely. There's also right here a nice center pass-through, so if you still wanted to maintain both of your outer seats, you can just put that down for some skis and some other accessories, you can say. Real quick on cargo, this is the big selling point for this vehicle for the SportsWagon version of the Golf. Cargo area has, by adding the extra foot, it increases room 33% over just the standard Golf. The cargo area versus with the seats up, 30.4 cubic feet as compared to 22.8 in your normal Golf wagon style, or just kind of your Golf with the 5th door, or 66.5 cubic feet with 52 compared to 52.7. So quite a bit more. And for those of you that are curious, the Ford Escape has about 35 cubic feet of cargo room with the seats up, and 68 cubic feet of cargo room with the seats down. So just something to compare for those of you who are saying, well, I'm not sure if I want kind of a mini SUV, a crossover type. This might get you there, and you're still able to park into some nice compact spaces. So with that being said, actually, you just want to go right into the review. So we'll just go right on over to it. 60/40 rear seats, as I mentioned before. This seat right here is set for about a 6'2" individual right here. We're just going to kind of show you what the legroom is like. Okay. So we're going to slide in, and as you can see, I'm touching right now. I could, you know, I could widen my knees out and I would be okay. But if you can see, this is set for myself, my dad, about 5'9", 5'10" drivers. You would have more than enough room in this back seat, and they're actually relatively comfortable. You have pretty good headroom with no sunroof. One thing to mention, on the S, the panoramic sunroof is not standard, but SE, SEL, you do have a standard panoramic sunroof. In here, Dad, if you want to show them, we'll just put the seats up right here. You do have 2 vent controls right here, and then we'll show you what it looks like with this pulled down, and you've got 2 cup holders right there as well. But that's really the extent of the apportionments. Here on the back of the door, some nice brush, you know, it's a plastic but nice brush, kind of aluminum effect right here. Some nice soft touch materials. Again, this is a cloth feature. With that, again, 2016, the S trim does lose some of those the leatherette features. So with that being said, we'll actually open the front door, just show you a quick overview of the interior, and then we'll take a drive in the 2016 Volkswagen Golf SportsWagon. All right, fans, here's just a very brief tour of the front seat of the 2016 Volkswagen Golf SportsWagon. The exact same as you're going to find on the actual standard Golf. So we're just going to show you the front seats really quick. Nice, soft, you know, cloth material. Nothing too fancy, but works really, really well. I mean, very comfortable seats. Had no complaints about them. As you get to the door, you'll notice, again, very similar to the back seat. Some nice, not really soft touch materials, but just some nice materials. I mean, it's a very high-class looking vehicle without paying the price. Again, that kind of that brushed aluminum look continues throughout the cabin. The nice big 6.5-inch touchscreen. This does come with the 5-speed manual, which is only for the S model. So the 5-speed manual on the S model works really well. We'll get into that more during the driving portion of it. Other than that, everything else is pretty standard. Standard steering wheel controls. You do have the cruise control, lighting controls over here. Nice big dials in front. Everything works you know, tremendously. Very easy to use and easy to operate. As you'll notice, I have more than enough room to operate everything kind of on the center stack there. So with that, why don't we actually put my dad in the back and we'll take a quick drive in the 2016 Volkswagen Golf. All right, fans, here we are for the driving portion. And before we get too much in that, just going to go over to the interior. If you want a more kind of interior view of what this system looks like, head to our past Volkswagen reviews. They haven't changed a whole lot of it. Very easy to use controls. Here's all of your media controls over here, all of your options on this side. If you go to menu, this is where you would go into CarPlay or Android Auto, whatever it might be. You can go into the vehicle, see some different things. Again, it's going to show you, since we started the vehicle, what's happened. We've been able to average, I want to make sure I get it right, about 31 miles per gallon. This car's rated for 25 and 36, 29. One thing to note that's a downside on this vehicle: no all-wheel drive as an option. This is a front-wheel drive car only. So something to note. That's pretty much about it for real quick. While you're zoomed in, we'll show you the rear view camera. No dynamic grid lines, obviously, but still, it's a suitable camera system. It works very, very well. Don't have any complaints, don't have any issues with it. It's not going to parallel park you or anything like that. But again, this vehicle, $22,000. So with that, let's take a quick drive. As I mentioned before, it does have this 5-speed manual. One thing I will note, when you go from the Beetle transmission to this, and obviously the Beetle had the bigger engine in it, did not have the 1.8 liter that this vehicle does have in it. It's a little bit not difficult, just the clutch takes a little bit getting used to. You have to give it quite a bit of gas coming into first gear to get started on it. One nice feature though is you do have the hill start assist, which is really, really nice, so you don't have to worry about rolling back into the car behind you on a hill if you're not as good on the clutch. As we kind of come down, we'll be quiet and let you hear what the interior sounds like. Relatively quiet. Again, this is a $22,000 vehicle. You're not going to get something out of a $50,000 vehicle, but pretty quiet. You can hold a very nice conversation. Actually went up, for those of you familiar with the Colorado area, went up from about Denver to Loveland this past weekend, which is a nice, probably you know, 35, 40 mile drive. Very easy to do. Drove really, really well. Really enjoyed the car at that point in time. Again, mentioned 31 miles per gallon. That's with me driving a lot of that, and I would venture to guess you would not be, or you would be hard or very hard pressed to not get close to 33, 34 if you were able to not have quite the lead foot that I do. So we'll kind of pull over here really quick. And again, we do apologize not being able to get up to highway speeds quite as much. Just something that we're not able to do very easily over in this area. So there's not much else I mentioned. I mentioned the 1.8 liter, 170 horsepower, turbocharged engine, works really, really well. All of the controls are very simple to use, a lot of cabin room. Who is this car for, before we kind of get our opinion? Well, we think it's for maybe your first car, whether you're a teenage driver, maybe you're thinking about buying a car for your teenager, you want to buy a car, drive it for several years and then lend it down to them. Same can be said for maybe, okay, you live in an urban part of town, maybe in a city, you can certainly buy this vehicle and you can get a lot of cargo in the back of it and still park it into some relatively tight spaces, which is really, really nice. So what is our opinion? I think you've kind of heard it. I think it's a great car for the money. There's a lot of nice features on it. There's not a lot of fancy features, automatic wipers, automatic headlights, dual climate control, heated seats, things like that. But you're going to have to be the judge. Again, $22,000 for a car that's going to go a long ways for you. It's going to fit a lot of things into the back seat, and it's also easy to park. That's quite a bit of stuff that you get into a small package. So just something to keep in mind. If you want to learn more about this vehicle, head to Volkswagen website. Check it out there. And also, if you really want to test drive this vehicle, head to your local Volkswagen dealer and tell them that John and Richard Rush from Drive Radio sent you.